Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jérôme Delay. I'm the head of the entertainment division at WinMedia, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you to this MIPCOM and this keynote address. Today, it's an honor to welcome Jeffrey Katzenberg, the Chief Executive Officer of Dreamworks Animation. Under Jeffrey's leadership, Dreamworks Animation has become the largest animation studio in the world, releasing 27 animated feature films to date and earning 9 Academy Award nominations and 2 wins for Best Animated Feature. Amongst many worldwide hits, Jeffrey brought to us film franchises Shrek, Madagascar, and Kung Fu Panda. In addition, throughout the studio's short 20-year history, Jeffrey has been credited with constantly innovating within the industry and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in this medium, growing Dreamworks into one of the most well-known family entertainment brands today. As most of you know, earlier this year, Dreamworks Animation committed to producing more than 1,000 episodes of original television programming, which will be distributed with key partners throughout the world. Today, Jeffrey will share his unique perspectives on the television business. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the MIPCOM 2013 Personality of the Year and our keynote speaker, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Thank you. It's in the 40 years that I've been in the entertainment industry, I don't think there's ever been a time filled with so much new and unique opportunity for the world of television. I know that all seems so wonderful and exciting. I mean, everyone loves the idea of new opportunity. It sounds so, well, I don't know, opportune. But the reality is that everything about opportunity isn't always simple or easy. Opportunity involves risk, and in many instances, it can feel threatening. This is because a lot of people see the world as a zero-sum game. According to this view, if one person seizes a new opportunity, then someone else has to lose ground. There are plenty of pundits that share this view. For example, Sean Maloney, the former executive vice president of Intel, was quoted in the Telegraph as saying, and I read a quote, "Over the next 2 years, you're going to have an explosion in high-quality video broadcast on the internet. People no longer have the patience to sit in their chairs in front of the TV and wait for it to happen. That whole way of life is going to change, and it will completely unravel the traditional television model. The era of TV is drawing to an end," unquote. You'll be happy to hear Mr. Maloney said this back in 2007. Since then, by almost every single measure, traditional TV viewing has not only remained robust, it has actually continued to expand. So it seems that all the zero-sum thinkers maybe should reconsider their math. Yes, there will continue to be exponential growth of internet-delivered content, but linear TV will continue to do just fine, and I actually think I can prove it to you. I'd like to give you a history of the last 550 years of the media business. Fortunately for you, I'm actually going to do it in just about 30 seconds. It was back in 1445 that Gutenberg made mass media possible by inventing the printing press. 150 years later, we had the first newspaper. Then another century passed, and in 1731, the first magazine debuted. In 1892 came the first motion picture exhibition. 1907 brought the first regular radio broadcast. 1927, television arrived. And in 1982, something called the Internet Protocol Suite was standardized, leading to the World Wide Web. I give you this brief chronology to demonstrate that if people like Sean Maloney were to be right in their predictions that the internet will render linear television obsolete, then this would go against the entire half-millennium history of mass media I just shared with you. Throughout this history, in not one instance did a new form of mass media replace an earlier form. Here's how historian Daniel Bornstein once explained this phenomenon, and I quote, "We're prone to what I call the displacive fallacy, to believe that every new technology displaces the old technology, that television will replace radio, that electronic news will displace print journalism, that the automobile will replace the human foot, and that television will replace the book. But each of these new technologies has simply given a new role to the earlier technologies. The development of technology is not displacive, it is cumulative," unquote. It is actually with this in mind that our company is working to take advantage of the expanding media universe. Of course, we continue to produce theatrical animated films. A single hit movie can drive enormous success on old platforms, new platforms, and platforms we haven't even imagined yet. And we can continue to have series of linear TV, which is great for our brand and great for these networks. In addition, this year we made the biggest first-run deal in Netflix history. Under the terms of this agreement, we will create more than 300 hours of original content. We've also announced an important multi-year partnership with Super RTL to provide thousands of TV series episodes, both original and from our newly expanded content library. This is the first of a number of international deals we're making with leading telecasters. Because there are so many emerging distribution options, there will inevitably be more demand for content. To meet this demand, last year, we bought Classic Media, which comprises one of the most extensive portfolios of well-known entertainment properties, such as Casper the Friendly Ghost, Where's Waldo, Lassie, Rocky and Bullwinkle, as well as Peabody and Sherman, the characters who will star in our next DreamWorks animation movie release coming next year. Also earlier this year, we acquired Awesomeness TV, which is one of the most subscribed to teen networks on YouTube, and is overseen by someone who has an unbelievable understanding of the possibilities of internet content, Brian Robbins. Awesomeness has already signed up over 180,000 channels, aggregated over 25 million subscribers, and almost 2 billion video views, all of this in less than a year. As of August, Awesomeness had over 60 million unique monthly viewers, and in terms of engagement, which measures all of the social network activity prompted by different forms of entertainment, Awesomeness is actually #1, as you can see in this chart. The Awesomeness deal gets us directly in touch with our teen audience in a way we simply can't with movies or TV shows. This is breathtakingly new and at the same time not new at all. Remember Dr. Borstein's observation about the displacive fallacy? Well, he's right, but he didn't actually take it far enough. So, to his displacive fallacy, I would add what I would like to call the parfait paradigm. I mean, as Donkey says in Shrek, everybody likes parfaits. Parfait's got to be the most delicious thing on the whole damn planet. Well, they also help explain why it is that new media never replaces old media. According to the parfait paradigm, each new medium gives us qualities that are complementary to the media that is already in place, just like an additional layer in a parfait. As a result, the entire media experience simply becomes richer and more satisfying. The latest example of this phenomenon in mobile entertainment, which is solving one of the greatest problems of the 21st century, waiting. People often decry the fast pace of modern life, but in reality, it's really not precisely a nonstop whirlwind. We move fast, but then we wait. Fast, then wait, fast, wait some more. We rush through a store, and then we wait to check out. We rush to the multiplex, and then wait in the ticket line. We rush to an airport and wait through security, and after flying through the air at over 500 miles per hour, we wait for our baggage. We rush to a restaurant, and we wait for the other person to arrive. I suppose you rushed to get here today and then waited for this keynote to start. Until now, we literally twiddle our thumbs while we waited. There was nothing else to do. Now our thumbs have a higher purpose than to twiddle. Through touch screens, we actually now can touch the world. Thanks to these devices, waiting as we know it is dead. And a rich new layer has been added to the media parfait. I hope this makes clear why mobile isn't a threat to traditional TV. But beyond this, I believe it will actually prove to be an asset to it. Again, we can look to the past to get insight into the future. Back in the 50s, when television really became a presence, everyone in Hollywood felt it was going to result in the cataclysmic demise of the movie business. Interestingly, if it's proven to be the case, I might not even be up here today. You see, in 1977, when I was working at Paramount, my first big assignment was to oversee production of the first Star Trek movie. This was an expensive film, and it was somewhat controversial because people questioned if there would be an audience for a movie based on a TV show. Well, it turned out to be a very big hit, and it launched a giant franchise, and also, I think in some respects, my own career. Since then, TV shows from Monty Python to Muppets to Mission Impossible have demonstrated the crossover value of TV to movies. This same crossover phenomenon is already happening in the relationship between mobile and linear TV. Just this past July, Awesomeness TV debuted a show on Nickelodeon called, not so surprisingly, Awesomeness TV, and it is a giant hit. In this way, mobile isn't just complementary to linear, it can serve as an incubator of talent and concepts, and then can actually drive additional traffic to traditional TV. The opportunities are endless in this expanding world of television, and this is why Dreamworks is betting so strongly on it. Indeed, as we look to the future, we see only one limiting factor, and it is something that we actually all have and will continue to wrestle with. The fact is that what drives success in any and all forms of media is great storytelling. There is a reason that Gutenberg's first book was the Bible. It is, after all, referred to as the greatest story ever told. Well, great stories and great storytellers are actually hard to come by. To illustrate what a consistent challenge this is, let me show you this graph. That blue line simply shows how the threshold for what it takes to make film content has plunged during the last 40 years. In the 70s, if you wanted to shoot a broadcast quality video, it was incredibly hard. You needed a full production studio worth many millions of dollars. Today, it's incredibly easy. To shoot high-definition video, you don't need anything more than a smartphone in your pockets. But now, I'm going to overlay another trend line for that same period of time. You'll note that the red line is perfectly flat. It represents the threshold for what it takes to tell broadcast quality successful stories. And that threshold simply hasn't changed at all. It's just as hard today as it's ever been to tell a great story that other people will find engaging. Storytelling in any medium is very difficult, and great storytellers are difficult to find. In Elizabethan England, there were lots of playwrights, but pretty much only Shakespeare's work has endured. With this in mind, look at the recent success of Netflix. What's amazing isn't just its streaming technology or its subscription-based model. What's amazing is that Netflix was able to consistently find and produce great stories. With shows like House of Cards, Arrested Development, Orange is the new black. Any TV service, network, cable, or over-the-top would have had success with these shows. Similarly, under the guidance of Brian Robbins, who's a natural storyteller himself, Awesomeness TV is telling short-form stories that kids love, and then they want to share those stories with their friends. And that is what makes it awesome. Whether the media is old or the media is new, content continues to reign as king. And this is because, like all royalty, it's rare. This is what drove our acquisition of Classic Media, which is an exceptionally deep and rich collection of established stories and characters that have deeply connected with audiences for more than 2 generations. We still have to find great new ways to tell these stories, but like beachfront property out here on the Quasette, content such as this is scarce and therefore has inherent and growing values. Perhaps the greatest demonstration of the tremendous value of timeless content like this can be found at a place I once worked at, Disney. Under Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's acquisition of Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm has been tremendously applauded in Hollywood and on Wall Street. Together, these acquisitions cost upwards of $15 billion, but without a question, their long-term value will prove to be far, far greater. All of which is to say, while it's certainly true that the prosumer electronics market has made it possible for anyone to create high-definition imagery, the fantastic equipment does not make it possible for anyone to create high-definition great stories. For that, we need great storytellers. And once their touch is added, touchscreens can take us anywhere and everywhere.
Hey, Jeffrey! I've heard enough of this content is king crap. I'm a piece of billion-dollar content, so why am I still treated like just another piece of donkey? Now sit down and answer the questions from Miss Kate Bulkley. Thank you very much.
When royalty speaks, I listen. Great.
I like being introduced by Donkey. Huh? It's not every time in your life that you get that as your coming on music. That's fantastic. Jeffrey, it's a thrill to meet you. It's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you for coming to MIPCOM. I think that, you know, what you're doing is just, I mean, it was an interesting speech, and it's what you're doing in television is something that I think all of us are really, really interested in. What I think is interesting about Dreamworks is that, you know, you're 20 years old, I think, next year, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. For the first 10 years, it was all about film, animation. It was only about 5 years ago you started actually working in the television space. Did some stuff with Nickelodeon, did some stuff with Cartoon Network. Then I guess it was end of 2012, you talked about Classic Media, buying that. Now you've got the Netflix deal. You've got Awesomeness. Why TV? Why now?
Well, I think there's a moment that happened for us a couple of years ago. Can't quite pinpoint it exactly, but I don't know, about 2 or 3 years ago. I think where all of us at Dreamworks felt that we had arrived at a place where something you would call brandhood.
Brandhood, okay.
That Dreamworks had, after more than 15 years, established a brand that had very specific values that people associated with it. And that's not something you get to declare for yourself. It's something that the consumer gives you. And I say gives you because it really is a gift. And once we arrived at that place where we felt we had a brand and one recognized around the world with these very specific values, we set out to diversify the company and to capitalize on a brand. Now, remember, in terms of branded entertainment, there is actually, up until then, one company in the world that had ever achieved brandhood as an entertainment brand, which was the Disney company.
Disney, yeah.
There are a couple of others that have gotten close. I think Miramax a number of years ago became very, very close to it. Pixar certainly would have achieved it had it not been acquired by Disney. And the first natural place to diversify into was television. You know, a place that many of the leadership of our company had worked in before, so we set out. We started with a partnership with Nickelodeon and made 3 shows for them, produced totally ourselves the Dragons of Burke for Cartoon Network.
And I think the second season's coming on that, isn't it?
Yes.
Soon. Yeah.
And you know, every one of which, all 4 of these shows have actually been tremendous successes.
Right.
And I think also that probably, you know, gave us the confidence to do this, and also gave probably the confidence to Netflix to, you know, approach us as they did.
I mean, you've called the TV business sort of moving into it a transformative moment for your company. You know, you've said in your speech you're not obviously going to not make films anymore. But is the film business model really broken to a certain extent? I mean, you had huge bets, $150 million.
Yeah,
maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
It's not broken for us. We've had you know, there have been things that have come along that have challenged the what had been a very strong business model for, you know, 15, 20 years, which was really the transition from DVD to digital. And so there's no question that it has had its challenges in it, but, you know, we've now made 20 CG animated movies, 19 of which have been profitable. The average box office gross of those 20 movies is over $500 million.
You're doing okay.
We're fine. But the movies are the heart and soul of our company. They define the brand, and so we must continue to do that, and they must continue to be great. But, you know, I think that, you know, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, DreamWorks will look like a very, very different company than it is today. And it's not, television is the place where it's become most transparent about what we're doing. But I think when people get an opportunity to see what we're doing in location-based entertainment, in theme park business, in China, and a number of places, we are really kind of branching out and building out the company.
With the TV business, I think you said you're going to make $100 million in revenue this year, you're forecasting. And that by, I think it's 2015, you'll double that to $200 million in television. So obviously this is a fairly big bet. Let's talk about the Netflix deal, because that's an interesting one. You said that maybe if you hadn't done all these other things, they wouldn't have wanted to work with you, things like that. What's interesting about it is it's 300 hours. You know, we don't know how many episodes. Are you going to tell us how many episodes that is?
No.
No, okay, fine. It's 300 hours. Netflix has done some really interesting things, as you know. They've launched adult, sort of sexy dramas, you know, House of Cards. Now we've got Orange is the New Black.
I just want to ask you a question, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you how many episodes that is.
Yeah.
But do I actually have to tell anybody how many episodes that is? Isn't the math kind of straightforward? I think everybody out here.
Is it straightforward?
Well, yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay. How many episodes is it?
Well, how many episodes make up 60 minutes?
Well, let's see, 60 into 300 hours.
No. It's the other way. Anyway, let's leave it alone. These guys figured it out.
Tweet what the answer is, okay? We'll pick it up. What I was going to ask you was, you know, this would be the first Netflix big animation, right? I mean, are you under a certain amount of pressure to make it work like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black? Because this will be the first kids program that they will have done,
the answer
right?
is we're under pressure to deliver hits. You know, the thing that is, you know, interesting about the Netflix platform is it's not, and I know it's very frustrating to everybody right now, all of us, is that it's, you know, they're not using the same yardstick everybody else is.
Right.
And, but the one thing I'm certain about is that, you know, built into this deal, frankly, is for it to keep going. It's not 3 years and out. It's actually, it's a 5-year deal that we've made with them. 3 years is the, is a place where if for some reason it's not working, they can exit out of it. I don't think it's their intention or ours that they will. Mm-hmm. So now, if we want to continue to see what is an amazing value of that partnership, we must deliver great shows. They've ordered 12 shows over 3 years, and every one of those shows needs to be exceptional.
What are the budgets for those shows?
They're competitive with what, Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
And they're different kinds of shows. Some of the shows are CG shows, which are more expensive.
Yep.
Some of them are hand-drawn shows.
Mm-hmm.
But they are absolutely on par. I mean, that was something that was important to us. We were not going to compromise the quality of what we do with these core characters and franchises of ours in it. So one of the things, all 4 of the shows that we've made to date, the 3 with Nickelodeon and the 1 on Cartoon Network, I think are acknowledged to be, at least as in the quality of production, to be the very, very, very top.
So you'll be
Raiders of Berk,
sorry.
The Dragon Show, which by the way just premiered a couple of weeks ago in Germany on RTL, and it was just a smash hit for them, as it has been for Cartoon Network.
And you're going to stay in creative control of this stuff on Netflix. They're
Yes.
not going to.
They don't want
Ted
it.
Sarandos isn't going to say no, don't do that, do something else.
He doesn't. He doesn't imagine himself to
Good.
that. His whole thing is, he picks people and enterprises that he has confidence to do that, and gives them the support.
Now, this is an exclusive Netflix deal. Are you going to be working with Amazon and Hulu and all the other guys, Microsoft's Xbox? I mean, everybody seems to be commissioning original content. Is that something that you're interested in?
What I'm interested in is making sure that we take the 1,000 episodes of television that we are producing in a very short period of time and making sure that we do an outstanding job of executing on that. I'm not sure we need to start spinning an additional set of plates here. We have a great organization, Margie Cohn, Mark Taylor, some of the most professional, successful people in the kids programming, television, animation business.
Margie came from Nickelodeon.
Yes,
Yep.
Margie's 25 years of experience, singularly the most probably knowledgeable person in TV, both live action, animation, production, now running this for us. So having great people is essential.
So this 1,100 hours, or 1,100 episodes, sorry, over the next 5 years, that could go on other platforms. That could be for broadcasters, that could be for channels.
Sure, they've bought the SVOD rights.
Right.
So, there's a window of exclusivity for them for SVOD only. And when it comes off of that, really what it's allowing us to do is to build an original library probably faster than any company has ever done in the history of the business. So in a 4-year period of time, 5-year period of time, to accumulate over 1,000 episodes of new television content in animation, I don't think that exists anywhere today.
And that's worth a lot of money as a library. That suddenly you become a bigger library than you are with television. Yes. So that's good. The analysts like that. Let's talk about I think it's interesting how you bought Classic Media. That was 450 other characters, right? Casper, Lassie, all kinds of wonderful things, Bullwinkle. Do you think that scale is important? I mean, do you need to buy more libraries, or do you think you have enough characters?
Well, that library, it is stunning what exists inside of that library, and every day, we continue to see, I could rattle off, Felix the Cat, Voltron, Masters of the Universe, Mr. Magoo. I could go on and on and on. Yeah. And seriously, without even trying, I could rattle off 40 or 50 titles here, every one of which most of the people in this audience, and more importantly, most people around the world, would recognize. Lassie is actually the most recognized pet in the world, everywhere, including China.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. Now I do. That's very valuable. And so...
They don't want to eat it in China, eat Lassie in China.
Now.
Sorry.
Don't go there.
Sorry.
Woo. So... I think that the Classic Media Library is for DreamWorks what the Marvel Library was for Ike Perlmutter when he bought it for $175 million 15 years ago. And I have to say, you know, you just have to give this man so much credit because he saw in it something, all of us looked at it. By the way, all of us looked at it 5 years ago and didn't see it. Forget 15 years ago when he bought it. Yeah. And what he did is, and what he believed is that he could take these great characters and reinvent them for the 21st century. That's the opportunity of classic media. It's not what are we going to do with those 6,100 episodes that we have, although we will get value out of them. The real opportunity is to take every one of those franchises and reinvent them. Yeah. So that's what we will set out to do. And I think that we have, with that, we actually do have a massive runway for us. And it's not about whether we find more IP, although when we find something, we'll buy it. We bought the Trolls property. That's true, yeah. You know, which, any of you guys remember the Trolls with the hair?
Yes. I had lots of those. Orange hair. Yeah. You brush it out, yeah.
Yeah. I was having a little hair insecurity, so we thought, okay, we'll get Trolls. So. But it's an amazing property, and one, again, that just has tremendous, tremendous value and recognition. And, you know, I think our ability to, you know, we're going to make a movie out of that, and then all of the things that come with it. Yeah, yeah.
So you'd be opportunistic. If you see something else, you might buy it.
Yep. In a second.
Okay. The Awesomeness deal, let's talk about that. I mean, that is fascinating. $33 million you paid for it, and I think it even goes up if they hit some performance criteria, so up to $117 million or something. So, you know, it's a fairly big bet. Younger audiences, online audiences, some people call it the new Nickelodeon or the digital Nickelodeon. Seems like it's a very different kind of producer than DreamWorks, though. I mean, we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about short. It's very different. So well, how does that fit into, what does that bring to you?
But that's what's fantastic about it is, and I believe we'll come back here 5 years from now, and the industry for what Brian Robbins calls bits, bytes, and snacks, what I was talking about, waiting. Waiting. You know, we used to fill it with Tetris. Now we're actually going to fill it with rich media and real stories and real continuing stories that are interesting to us. And I think they will exist in so many different ways. But this to fill this space that exists is just this enormous, enormous, enormous untapped opportunity. And by the way, it's only come about as sort of this convergence of things that, you know, I mean, there was no rhyme or reason for it. It's just they collided together. It's like, you know, these tectonic plates coming together, and suddenly there's a whole new continent there. And this one is made up of, first and foremost, the fact we have a device with us now 24/7 that we can access high-quality, rich media, one. Then, at the same time, sort of the idea of short-form content, well, you really, if you look at it, what these devices, it started with text, text went to picture, you know, and gaming, casual gaming, and now is just like on this slope quickly to you know, escalate into short-form entertainment. I don't know, how many people here are fans of Breaking Bad? All right.
A lot of them.
Okay, so I had this, just to give you, like, I had this crazy idea. I was nuts for the show, and I had no idea where this season was going, and you'll realize that as I tell you this story. So about 6 weeks ago, I actually thought, well, if I could get them to produce 3 more hours of Breaking Bad. And so I call all the different people involved with it, and I know some of the creative people in the studio and all that. And I said to them, okay, I have an idea. If you will make 180 minutes, 3 episodes. Extra, right. Continued beyond where the show ends. Not a very good idea, as we know. I said, I will pay you $25 million per episode. So just to put that into context, I think the last series cost about $3.5 million an episode, right?
Right.
So they would make more profit from these 3 shows than they made from 5 years of the entire series.
That was a nice offer.
So they said, okay, well, what are you going to do with those 3 episodes? I said, well, and I have one criteria you have to do. You have to deliver them to me in 6-minute segments.
Ah.
So I want 30 6-minute chapters. And they said, okay, what are you going to do with them? I said, I'm going to create the greatest pay-per-view television event for scripted programming anybody's ever done, which is every day for 30 days, you're going to be able to go buy for 99 cents or for 50 cents, or, you know, it probably would be 99 cents because of iTunes.
Right.
You can buy a chapter of these 30 chapters.
Right.
Okay, well, I just have to say there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that there were 6, 7, 8 million people who would go out and buy those, you know, 30 chapters of Breaking Bad every day and download it and watch a 6-minute piece of it. It's just a whole, at 12 noon when you post it, everybody would be sitting there waiting for that next 6 minutes to come.
So they obviously turned you down because they knew their own storyline.
Yeah.
Okay. But you think this could be translated into something else?
It's going to happen. That's my only point of telling you the story. I don't know if I could find an opportunity of something that lent itself to it. I share the story with you only to tell you, you know, that I have the courage of my convictions in this, in that I just think that there is a whole new, I guess, what we would call a platform for entertainment that is this sort of short form waiting time. And the higher the quality of the stuff is that fills it, the higher people will be paid for the work that they're doing there. Whereas right now, today, you know, people have thought about it too much as, you know, cats on skateboards, you know, and you know, today's ast one is that, I don't know if anybody has seen the YouTube video where they go into a restaurant and they did this whole little punking of the people in the restaurant, that all these spooky things happen in the restaurant. It's really great, right? 2.5 minutes. You know, I don't, in one day there was 5.5 million views, and it's just like soaring there. And so, but that, somebody actually produced it. I mean, it's a real quality piece of production.
So you don't really think that the short form is going to kill storytelling?
No.
No way, right?
No, any more than television killed movies. It didn't happen.
Okay.
No.
What about this idea? I mean, at one point you were thinking of launching a linear Dreamworks television channel. So what happened to that? Is Awesomeness the answer to that?
No. No, I just think today to do that, well, frankly, the Netflix opportunity for us, given the size, scale, commitment, to launch a linear channel, particularly in the US today, a cable channel, unaffiliated, really difficult, lots of money, billions. Not hundreds of millions, billions to do it. I mean, billions of investment before you start to see a return on it. So, you know, it is something we're still interested in. I think the opportunity for us to do that certainly will still exist out there today, but, you know, DreamWorks has had so much success by partnering with very big, very successful big brothers, you know, and we are a little scrappy company that's, you know, trying to be very, very entrepreneurial. And so, honestly, I'm thrilled to be in partnership with RTL in Germany. I mean, they're top notch, and they're great people. They run a great business. They're very passionate about the work. They're very proud of what they do. They're invested in our brand and our success, and it ain't broke.
It ain't broke, right? Don't fix it. How are you going to integrate DreamWorks and Awesomeness together? I mean, what's going to happen? Are you going to say to Brian, start using my animation tools, or what do you...
Only if he wants to. That's up to him. I mean, he's the author of it. He's the author of the content, and that is the thing. I will say, we bought Awesomeness TV. I didn't tell him this, but he's here in the audience today. 51% of the reason why we bought Awesomeness TV was because of him and Brett Boutier in it. These two guys are just superstars. They are wildly talented. and they love, love, love this short form content, and they're really good at it. Honestly, I defy you to come and show me today anybody working in short form content today that's producing work and touches the quality of what they're doing. So the fact that they're having this kind of success with it isn't a surprise at all. Now, the thing that their challenge is they have to scale it.
Yep.
And they have to scale it quickly because, you know, it's not like it's not obvious what they're doing. And I think other talented people are going to come along, see this opportunity, and are going to dive in. And so, you know, they've already gone from Awesomeness to Awesomeness X. So Awesomeness is tween and teen girls.
Yeah.
Awesomeness X is tween and teen boys in this. And the next thing that they will do in short order is go into Awesomeness Kids. And so that, you know, from preschool right through to, you know, teens, you know, he will have, you know, a great platform. And the degree to which our IP can help and support him, then we will give him access. So
you could see putting, I don't know, Penguins, Shrek, Madagascar on his network.
If maybe, but I think you can't really put those on his network because they're too expensive and they don't really lend themselves to it. And it's not to say he won't find some form of animation that will work, but it'll be very simple and a very different kind of animation than that. The work that he's doing is it's live action, and it's scripted half-hour, hours, comedies, dramas, reality. You know, one of their most successful shows is a thing that's sort of like a teen girl version of The View, in which there are these 4 great gals, and every day they're talking about stuff that teenage girls are interested in. And it's funny, and it's smart, and it's really well done. And he produces it for about 88 cents. It's just staggering, seriously.
You like those economics, right?
Well, it's just, you know, it's not he did this.
I know, but you own him now, so you like it because it's going to help your bottom line.
I admired it, and I think he can build on it. And then the thing that I think is the most exciting thing about it, and I probably didn't say it very clearly in my remarks or clearly enough, is his platform of what he is doing is, like, he's got a couple of new series that he's already shot. We've seen them. One of them is called Side Effects. I think he was showing a trailer of it here to some people. Yep. And it's really it's just a fantastic show. And the production values of it. It's it's got musical elements in it, and it's really, really well done. And so he's now shot the 60 or 70 minute, show, which is now divided up into a dozen 5-minute bits that he will do. If that show is successful, which I'm really confident it is going to be successful, the next thing Brian's going to do is he's going to turn around and now actually make a traditional linear version of that show, which, a 45-minute, a 30 or 45-minute show that can go on a traditional platform, whether it's cable or TV network or wherever it can go. And the thing that's amazing is that for the first time ever, he's already tested the concept. He's already proven that it's successful because people will be able to see, that there'll literally be tens and tens and tens of millions of viewers and views on this. So when he takes that out to sell that to somebody, to a platform, not only is he delivering them a truly tested concept and cast and idea, he's going to deliver an audience. And that's the thing that is just breathtaking about Nickelodeon with his Awesomeness show. Because here's this stuff that he aggregated together his short form. He shot a whole new wraparound in it and hosted it and made it really look slick and great for a kind of traditional half-hour show. Nickelodeon, not for any bad reasons in it, they were just filling out their schedule, so I don't want to sound the wrong way, but it's literally in the suckiest time slot they have. It's on Monday night at 8 o'clock on July 1st. Now, you just can't get any worse than that. It did 1,700,000 viewers on the premiere episode, and by the way, stayed exactly like that, from 1,550,000 to 1,720,000, like it like a rock. And the only place that show was promoted, only place that the Awesomeness TV show on Nickelodeon was promoted, Brian promoted it on his YouTube channel. So he delivered a show, tried, tested, proven, and he delivered an audience. How much is that worth?
Exactly.
Come on, buyers, how much is that worth?
And also, it's an amazing economic model. It's so different because, as you say, you have feedback instantly. The marketing and promotion isn't very expensive, because, you know, especially if you have your own network. I mean,
it's all viral. It's all
It's viral. You've got the whole social thing. I mean, it's a whole new world that way. You know, they talk about how do you.
That's why I'm so excited about it, because I honestly, you know, 5 years we're going to come back and there's going to be, you know, MIPCOM waiting, the waiting space. We're going to the thumb, you know, the thumb twiddling place replacement.
Right.
Business.
The thumb twiddling replacement business. That's what you're in now, right? Okay. So this wall of choice that young people have, I mean, you know, it's all about social and Twitter and, you know, the YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have been in the children's animation television business for years. You know, is this really a totally different group of people now, that we have to look at them differently, we have to think about them differently?
You bet. You absolutely do. And that's not a threat, it's an opportunity. And honestly, I think there are many, many people that get that and understand it and are now solving for it. And it's not just solving for it, but they're actually being offensive in terms of playing for it. And all you have to do is to be around kids. And you see that their habits are radically changing, and it's generational. And unless you observe it, unless you watch, you know, you literally have to open your eyes and your ears, and you have to just look and see what's happening for you. Anybody who has got kids today that are like 4 to 5 years old up till, you know, well now, you know, teens in this and it, they're not going to their television set to watch. It's not that they're not watching, it's just that's not the device. Today, these kids are engaged in this much more personal experience that happens, you know, when they're on an iPad, you know, or a tablet. And that somehow or another, and by the way, I understand it because I watch a lot of my television that way, only because I live on an airplane. But, you know, I couldn't wait to get on the plane to come here because I had the first 2 episodes of Homeland to watch. And I'm so happy in my little cocoon. I've got my earplugs on, and I'm just watching that TV set, and I can be as intimate. I can stop it when I want. You know, this whole thing of working with, you know, the ability to actually touch the screen and change it right there in the moment, which is, you know, somebody said to me I was having lunch with today, said, you know, was talking about how they were observing the kids, that it's not the same as pushing a button here to do something, but the fact that they can actually have an interactive relationship with their hands on a screen, it's tactile and it's very compelling. And it's where our audience is going. We got to go there with them.
Yeah. When you look at your business going forward, and this is my last question, you know, the future, do you think, I mean, how many, is there 1,800 people at Dreamworks? How many people?
2,600.
2,600. Oh, I didn't know that was that many. How many of those people are going to be working on TV, and how many people will be working on film, do you think, in 5 years?
Well, it's not going to change. I mean, I say it's not going to change from the movie side of our business. Is that starting next year, we're making 3 movies a year, and so we're in that mode now.
That's a lot.
I don't want to give misquotes on numbers here, but I think the movie side that allows us to do that, and it's a combination of, you know, we're as much a technology company as we are a storytelling company. So, you know, 350 people that just do technology, literally. But the movie side of the business is probably about 1,500, 1,600. The rest are people that are in the television business, in the consumer products business, in the location-based entertainment business, you know, in the China business.
The China business, because you're opening a big animation studio in China.
We already have. We have 150 people at a studio in Shanghai.
China. Wow.
Yeah, today, and doing great work. Very exciting.
Well, I think it sounds very interesting what you're doing. I think we will be watching with interest. how you develop your Netflix relationship. We're hoping they'll give you some numbers, by the way, when the show's
They don't have to give me any numbers. They just pick up another 2 years. I'm very happy.
That's right, because they're paying you up front. It's not a performance-based deal. So that's good. And then Awesomeness TV, as you say, there's a lot of potential there, a lot of opportunity. So it'll be very interesting to see how that develops. I really, really enjoyed talking to you. And will you please join me in thanking Jeffrey Katzenberg?
Thank you.